What if the only reason you are failing is because you stopped too soon? What if success was just one more attempt away, but you never got there? There was once a man who almost gave up on everything. But one moment, one decision, changed his entire life. In a quiet village surrounded by fields and narrow dirt paths, lived a young man named Kieran. Kieran was known as a hard worker. Every morning before sunrise, he would walk to his small piece of land and work until the sun went down. But for years, nothing seemed to work. His crops failed again and again. The soil seemed dry. The rains were unpredictable. No matter how hard he tried, his efforts never paid off. Day after day, Kieran watched others in the village succeed. Their farms grew greener. Their homes improved. Their lives moved forward. But his felt stuck. People began to whisper, maybe he's just unlucky. Maybe farming isn't for him. Even his own family started to worry. One evening, sitting outside his small home, Kieran stared at the ground in silence. For the first time, he asked himself a dangerous question. What if I just stop? The next morning, Kieran walked to his field one last time. The sun was rising softly. The air was calm. But inside him, everything felt heavy. He picked up his tools, looked at the dry soil, and slowly dropped them. I'm done, he whispered. Years of effort, and nothing to show for it. He turned around, ready to walk away from the life he had always known. Leaving already? Kieran turned. An old farmer stood behind him. He had lived in the village longer than anyone. Quiet, observant, wise. Kieran sighed. I've tried everything, and nothing works. The old man walked slowly toward the field. He bent down, picked up a handful of soil, and looked at it carefully. Then he said something simple. Tell me, how many times have you tried? Kieran frowned. I don't know, many times. The old man shook his head. No. Not many. Not enough. Kieran looked confused. I've worked for years, he said. The old farmer nodded. Yes. You worked. He paused. But did you learn? Silence. Did you try differently? The old man continued. Or did you repeat the same effort, expecting a different result? Kieran had no answer. The old farmer pointed toward the fields. Look around you, he said. You see success. But you don't see the failures behind it. He continued. Every strong farmer in this village has failed more times than you can imagine. They just didn't stop. Kieran stood still. Something inside him began to shift. What if I fail again? He asked quietly. The old man smiled. Then you will be closer than before. He placed the soil back on the ground. Failure is not the end, he said. It is the path. That day, Kieran did not leave. Instead, he picked up his tools again. But this time, he worked differently. He observed more. He asked questions. He learned from others. He studied the soil. He adjusted his methods. For the first time, he was not just working. He was growing. Days passed. Then weeks. Then months. And still, there were failures. Crops that didn't grow. Efforts that didn't work. But something had changed. Kieran no longer saw failure as defeat. He saw it as feedback. One morning, as the sun rose over the village, Kieran noticed something. Small green shoots. Breaking through the soil. He stared at them in disbelief. For a moment. He said nothing. Then slowly. He smiled. Months later. Kieran stood in his field again. But this time. It was different. The land was full. Green. Alive. Growing. The same soil. That once gave him nothing. Now gave him everything. That evening. Kieran sat outside his home. The same place where he almost gave up. The old farmer walked by. Kieran stood and bowed slightly. "You were right," he said. The old man smiled. "No," he replied. "You were. If you're watching this right now, you might be standing at your own breaking point. Tired. Frustrated. Ready to walk away. But listen carefully. What if you are closer than you think? What if the only difference between success and failure is one more attempt? One more lesson. One more try. Because the truth is simple. Most people don't fail. They quit. So before you give up, ask yourself, have I truly tried, or did I just stop too soon?